Pastor Kelly with Unfolding Grace today. Oh, you caught me sleeping. I was having a slumber party. Well, actually, I was reminiscing. About a little over a year ago, I had a new grandson, and I went to Oklahoma to see him. And at that time, my other two grandchildren were 5 and 3. Little Cadence and Selah. They all, believe me, I have the cutest grandkids in the whole world. Well, because I rarely get to see my grandkids, every time I get to see them, we have to kind of like start all over again, getting to know each other. And it takes a few days for them to warm up to me because really I'm just the grandma in the computer. So when I was down there after Ezra was born, and then there ended up being kind of a little disaster. We have a week-old baby, and Mommy's real tired because she just had a baby, and Daddy ended up with emergency surgery the next day after I got there. And his recovery time was very, very long. And so I was glad I was there to help out where I could. But things were a little hectic. And the girls started warming up to me after I made some tookies, as they call them. Cookies, of course. We made cookies, and then I started to be a cool grandma. And then they decided they wanted to sleep with me. And I kept saying, no, you can't, not until Friday, because the oldest was in kindergarten at the time, and I didn't want her to get late at night. So on Friday was the plan of the big slumber party with Grandma. Oh, this was going to be so much fun, and I was going to make some points as a grandma and be a cool grandma. My son looked at me and says, Mom, you may regret this. I said, oh no, this is going to be so much fun. The girls will love this. Okay, so my first plan was to pull both of their bunk bed mattresses down onto the floor. Well, that didn't work too good because the room was actually too small to get both mattresses on the floor, so we could only get one down on the floor. But then Cadence, the 5-year-old at that time, she decided she was going to have her nap mat, and she would sleep beside us. And Selah and I crawled into the mattress, and after several books, Grandma's got to read books. And unfortunately, Selah really likes bats. So I had to read several books on bats, much to my displeasure, but they loved it. And we read other books, and then we laid down and turned off the lights, and we played I Spy, and we played Finish the Word, which Selah kind of had a hard time with because she doesn't know how to read and spell yet, and it doesn't know all her letters at the time. And then eventually at that time, I was like so sleepy, the girls finally drifted off to sleep, and about the time they finally fell asleep, I was wide awake. And by that time, little Ezra, 1 week old, decided he would exercise his lungs. So I got up to see if my daughter-in-law, Sarah, needed any help. And I walked and rocked little Ezra for a while so she could have a little time to herself. Until her time, she came back and took Ezra. And I laid back down and finally fell asleep. Isn't that what you're supposed to do in a slumber party? About the time I finally fell asleep, the oldest wakes up, and she's crying, and she runs off to Mommy and Daddy's bedroom. And a little while later, here she comes with Daddy leading her back to bed. And I said, are you okay, Cadence? Is everything fine? And she said, yeah, I was just scared, and I wanted to be with people. And then I thought, well, what are Selah and I? Weren't we people? But okay. So we start to fall back to sleep almost. And then it's Selah's turn to wake up, and she's crying. And I said, honey, everything's going to be okay. And she said, how would you know? And she got up and ran off to Mommy and Daddy's room. A little while later, here comes Daddy carrying Selah, who he's not supposed to be carrying anything. This is like 1 or 2 days post-surgery. And at the sight of Daddy carrying younger sister, the older sister started to cry. Why didn't you carry me, Daddy? And her daddy said, you were happy and you could walk. Now go back to sleep. And eventually they both fell back to sleep. And finally, towards daylight, I think I finally back to sleep. In the morning when I woke up, I thought, oh, that was just a disaster. I got up and I went out to the kitchen and I was reading my Bible, and I thought, I just had a total grandma fail here. The girls, this terrible memory with them. But when the girls got up, it was just the opposite. They were all happy and giggles, and they were so excited, and they're just like, Grandma, that was so fun. We had a sleepover with Grandma, and all they could remember was the fun stuff, the stories, and the song I wrote about the Ryer princesses living in the castle. They could remember all that. They didn't remember anything about their nightmares and crying. And I thought, wow, to be like a child, to forget the bad stuff and the nightmares, and just focus and remember the good things. Sometimes as adults, we really, really struggle with that. In Isaiah chapter 43, it says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the desert and streams in a wasteland." God has good and new things for you. Forget the old things, those bad things in your life. Ask Jesus to cleanse your memory and help you to remember the good things and to know that the path ahead of you is so good with Jesus. Well, this has been Pastor Kelly with Unfolding Grace, with just kind of a story today. But I hope you enjoyed it, and remember the good things.